there's a section 3, public sewage disposal. There's some options A and C that give an owner the right to have a private sewer system. That no longer exists. So those sections need to be stricken. In other words,
they can't have one.
You can't have one. It wouldn't be possible to have one under county zoning regulations.
Okay.
Is that because of the flood area? It being a flood zone?
No, it's because of
they don't allow septic tanks.
you have to have X number of acres to have a septic tank. I think it's 5 in Thayer County. It varies from county to county, but that's Thayer County. So there's 2 sections there, and I'll read them. Where a public sanitary sewer is not available under the provisions of sections 2D, the public sewer shall be connected to a private sewage disposal system, complying with all requirements of the State Board of Health. So if you could have tied yours into at that time, to the public sewer system, that was permissible. And also the owner shall operate and maintain the private sewer disposal facilities in a sanitary manner at all times at no expense to the village. But remember, they had 2 years to come into compliance. Okay, so that section is no longer applicable because it's come and gone. Then this is several. The rest of there's a lot of this that's as applicable today as it was then. If a person wanted to hook up to the sewer, I'm going to read this up to a point. No unauthorized person, we've talked about this before, no unauthorized person shall uncover, make any connections with, or open into, use, alter, or disturb any public sewer or appurtenances without first obtaining a written permit from the village clerk. Before a permit may be issued for excavating for plumbing in any public street, way, or alley, the person applying for such permit shall have executed under the village of Alexandria and deposited with the clerk a corporate surety in the sum of, at that time it was $2,000. And I'm going to suggest that that be increased to 5. This was 1970. I was making $6,000 maybe as a teacher in 1970. And bond. Now, you don't have to come up with 2,000. You can come up with a bond.
A bond?
Yes. You provide a bond. The guarantee there is the bond entity is saying if the city is damaged, if the city sewers are damaged, they're assuming the liability up to X number of dollars, up to $5,000. And we wouldn't have had some of the problems that we've had if we'd followed the ordinance.
Right.
Even a $2,000 bond.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If your sewer line has collapsed, or the one from your house to the villages where you hook up, and are you saying that if we had to dig that up because of roots or whatever,
no.
Is that, we're already hooked up?
There's in this, I'm not reading all of this, but the village has responsibility, and our concern is stops at the, what do they call it, the Y?
Or it hooks up to the property.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're on your property and you have to replace your sewer line.
Just replace the sewer line.
We don't have to get a permit
No,
from the clerk
no,
or anything?
no.
We can just
This
repair?
is directed to people that are hooking onto the line.
Oh, okay.
And it would be most applicable now if somebody were saying, well, we've got this property here. I was hooked up to the sewer once. It's not hooked up now, as was the case up there on Meridian Street. Like to hook up to it. We didn't even know where it was. And fortunately, the sewer wasn't damaged, but the street was. Okay? And we wouldn't have had the hassle if we'd had this $5,000 bond posted in advance of Or,
So who ended up
five. It would have
paying
been
the
2
bill?
under the current ordinance.
Does the city have to pay the bill then for tearing up that street and everything?
We haven't spent any money up there yet.
Oh,
But at some point, I think we're gonna have to spend some money to repair,
right.
do some repairs. No, it doesn't affect, it wouldn't affect your water, this all speaking to sewer, okay? Not water either. And then, finally, I'm going through this kind of quickly, but at the end it says the ordinance shall be published in the Alexandria Argus. Well, that was the paper that existed at the time. Frankly, I don't think publication of this entire ordinance makes a lot of sense, but I do see that it would make sense to post the ordinance. I don't want to pay for the, or to make, or to say, post it and say make copies can be made available. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, one other thing. Any violation of the rules and regulations after written notice to cease and desist, in a previous paragraph, it says that if a resident is in violation, the village has a responsibility to notify them and tell them that they're in violation, okay, and give them an opportunity. Well, I'll read it. Well, there's a deal here on malicious, willful, and negligent break is subject to arrest, but,
Yeah, there is.
any person found to be violating any provisions of this ordinance, with the exception of section 6, shall be served by the village clerk with written notice stating the nature of the violation and providing a reasonable time for the satisfactory correction thereof. The offender shall, within the period of time stated in such notice, permanently stop all violations. So, that's consistent with what we've done as far as other violation of village ordinances. People have been notified. Any violation of the rules and regulations after written notice to cease and desist shall constitute a misdemeanor, and the violator, upon conviction thereof, shall be fined in an amount not to exceed $100. Okay, again, $100 in 1970 was considerably more money than $100 today in terms of a consequence. And there really wouldn't be any violation here unless somebody just totally ignored this regulation and went ahead and dug up the sewer line of their own volition. So, what I'm suggesting is there's some changes that probably need to be made here. I think a fine there of, say, $300 as opposed to $100 would be more appropriate to the time. We need to get, just in order to satisfy the agency, would just the one clause would do. But some of this other stuff is totally dated as well, and so I'm suggesting we turn this over to Mrs. Bauer to have it redone, and then bring it back next month for action, and probably then ask you to waive the 3 readings. I'm not asking for a motion tonight, but hopefully you had a chance to look this over and in advance of the meeting. Is there anything else that caught your eye? Don't you think posting and rather than publication is adequate?
If that's satisfactory with them.
Yeah, you don't have to publish if you had a paper in your
Right,
building.
we have the
So that
paper.
whole section X can come out
Already
because section
marked it out.
9, because section 9 states what it is.
So if you wanted a copy of it, could you get a copy of it? Oh, okay. This one.
Oh.
Yeah, it says posting there, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
They're gonna have
it's,
a whole
it's
new
either
one.
posting or
Rob's, I think.
publication, yeah.
So this one,
Okay,
don't
yeah,
really
and
need
she
it.
would
No.
arrange that, so.
As long as it satisfies them, and I think that turned over to Linda. to
If,
get it for
I
us.
would work with Linda on this if, since I,
Mm-hmm.
are those, is increasing the bond to 5 and the fine to 300, is that acceptable? Okay, I wrote, I got it down. That 5 is on
I got that one.
the third page and the blank, and the 2,000
Yeah,
just
see that.
penciled or penned in there. And then the fine is on the last page. She may put this in a little bit different form, but the content will be the same. Okay. Otherwise, okay. I'll work on that. Anything else that you want to report on the lagoon project?
We're working on the property docket
Right,
yet. We have to have title insurance on the properties that we bought.
right.
And Chris Timmerman over in Hebron is working on it. She thought it'd be another week or more before she'd have it done.
Good.
And we have to get new permits from the state and the county to do the work along their road.
Right-of-ways.
And that's gonna take a couple weeks too. Last
Have
week
you
when I
had any
talked to him-
communication from the engineer of late?
No,
You had said something about that there was still some hope that we could advertise for bids by the end of the month.
and we're waiting on this property docket.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that and I send it to the USDA, I think it will be, we have to publish for four weeks in a row. So it's gonna be another.
bids?
For bids. Mhm. Because the DEQ approved the plans. We
Right.
had the letter on that.
Right.
So,
Days, everything just takes so much time.
yeah. And
Okay.
those permits, like with the state, were good for a year, and it ran out March 5th. And the county was only good for 6 months. So they're gonna write another one up. Both places said it's no problem.
We did get an extension, which I gave to Mrs. Rudd from the DEQ beyond the December 31 timeframe for completion of the project now. Okay, Williams property, do you have anything to report on that?
No, I really don't. I know that Richard doesn't want a windy day. So,
Well, I don't blame him.
If you've looked in there, it's
all
quite a
loose.
mess. If somebody would help, maybe we can push that stuff back in there. I don't know who lifted a door up that, really don't have any way to lock it.
Well, that could have been that guy that I contacted,
Oh.
remember, that had
Oh, okay,
the
all right,
bid?
that's a possibility, yes.
I don't know but he did go up and look at it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have checked on prices for, I think it was $9 for up to 350 pounds on a load at the transfer station. To take it down at
That's their
Fairbury.
base charge.
Yeah, that's the base, yeah, that's what the first
I don't
one's
know.
gonna, what it'll be. I didn't bring that, I wrote that down at home, but I've talked to them and, no problem with the springing it.
Okay. There's not that cost is gonna be fairly
I
modest.
I don't think it's gonna be, it's,
Just getting it done is.
the machine, operation's gonna be, those have to be so lightweight in there that, they're either gonna break down, who knows when you hit them, what's gonna happen, plastic does
Well, that's all loose for all
Yeah.
practical purposes.
Yeah, we peeked in the, Don and I looked around things, and as far as another, getting another department to burn the house, I know that the fire department wants to burn that. They feel like they would be upset if we would go get somebody else since they want to burn it. Their problem is the rural board. Is-
That
And
doesn't help us.
I know it doesn't. Steve, I do not know what caused the situation with the rural board. Obviously, there has been something happened that caused them to be defensive, because they were working with us with everything, with burning properties in town
Well, they've had
for
some
us.
turnover for one thing.
Yeah, well, no, I think
Have they?
same board members are there, I think, almost. Well, except for two, I think, but I don't know I don't know if something has happened that caused it with
Well,
people or.
some of those guys have absolutely no connection to Alexandria
No,
whatsoever.
I know, they don't, but I don't think they're the problem. I know Donna has talked to one of the board members. It's on the edge of the county district. But I don't know, I don't, Jim, you and I have talked about that there was a deal quite a number of years ago where you could take a petition and dissolve a rural board setting and dissolve, we would become a part of the fire district. Now, it might be a thought to think about down the road. I know that, and that would be something I think we would have to visit with that attorney that's up there at David City that Jim and I would have to visit with him one time up in David City.
Been a number of years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if we were gonna proceed with something like this down the road sometime, Steve, we would need to talk to him first and he would have the paperwork for it. I'm just kicking that out as a thought, since we can't seem to be working with them right now. Other communities, and I don't know, maybe Hebron owns all maybe the city of Hebron owns all their equipment, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
So would Gilead help out?
Well, that is the problem of asking, is because the fire department themselves, I think, would be quite upset with us. It's not them that will not burn
Which fire
it.
department?
Yes,
Alex?
the Alec Fire Department.
Why?
They want to burn this down.
Then just come in and burn it.
Them,
Yeah.
the rural board will not let them use their equipment.
So call Chester. Chester's fire department, they'll do
Chester,
it.
they'll do it.
They'll burn anything.
That's the same thing as Gilead, asking
Yeah,
them.
that's not
Mhm.
the, well,
But you know, will Chester bring their equipment all the way up here and not offer protection to their community?
So the village doesn't own the fire equipment?
No, we do not.
You can buy a fire truck for $3,000 on eBay.
Check them out on eBay.
But we need to.
Really, kick the rural board out.
That's a dandy unit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, it's if we can't get anything done, we got a lot of other homes that need
No, you ought
to
to
be,
see it. It's a really nice one. It really
you
is.
know, done with.
Well, there's a lot of, tearing them down doesn't seem to be a solution either, because messes get left there.
well,
So,
I hate to say this, but,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm about to the point where I'd say,
burn it.
well, maybe we ought to just,
What?
part ways with the rural fire district.
Well, that's what you were referring to.
That's what I'm referring to, yes.
I think that petition, that would dissolve our
That, it is.
relationship with them, I think,
Well, it creates,
if I remember correctly.
no, what it does is it makes us part of a rural fire district. We will be taxed just like somebody living in the country is. We're
Right.
part of the fire district.
It's a longer go, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Well, that isn't gonna help us there.
Well,
Well, I guess we can pick them out of the
yes,
building.
yes, it would, because, it would, because, we wouldn't hear this hollering that we're in town and they run this. We're part of the fire district. That's
We
what
would
I'm saying.
eliminate that 53 agreement
Yeah.
too, as
Mhm.
well.
Yes. But it is a
Well, that would
petition.
also,
I don't.
allow the village residents to vote on
Yeah,
Yes.
fire district.
It would have to be set up that we would have to have a representative.
Yeah.
That's
I
right,
don't
that's what
remember the
it is.
details. We'd
Yes,
have to
sir.
find
Yeah.
out.
I've got the Rural Fire Board contract here.
I know
Paragraph 11, it says the contract is to continue in effect until canceled by either party after 6 months written notice to the other party of intention to cancel.
that's right.
It's a 1952 contract. I think
So I know we can cancel the contract, kind of and at 6 months' notice.
The fire truck is
The reason
there.
I've been hesitant to do that, I realize that if your house catches on fire, the likelihood of the fire department getting there in time to save much is, well, we know what the history is. But I was also concerned, and we talked about this before, about how it might affect your and my insurance
Very
rates.
high.
But all that having been said, we're getting nothing, as has been pointed out before.
They won't tell us what their problem is? Don't they, we have a right to know why they can't get along,
Well,
or
they've
what
told
is
us
it?
that they don't think that these properties represent, and particularly with the Williams property, the properties that have already been gutted essentially, represent any kind of a training opportunity. I don't think that's, we can disagree with that.
Yeah, but why can't they just do it because they can? Because it's a hazard for kids to wander into and things like that. It's the danger.
That's a wonderful question. You might want to show up at a rural fire board meeting and ask that question.
Right.
Because I don't have an answer for that as to why. I can understand why they wouldn't want to be doing one a month. Nobody has that expectation, but I can't understand why they couldn't do a couple a year.
They want a donation? Is that what they're wanting?
That has come up also, because we asked about that, and as said, well, how is it that they can go out and supervise rural fire burns, control burns
Yeah.
out in the country? Well, they get a substantial donation. Those were the exact words.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Substantial donation.
But you couldn't tell us what that was.
And there was the liability wasn't there. That was a concern, and I said, well, yeah, there is some liability, because it was at the same time we were having this discussion that 3 firefighters lost their lives in western Nebraska doing a
Control burn.
a
Yeah.
controlled burn of
Field.
prairie.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no such thing as no risk in any of this, but the long and the short of this, we just haven't gotten any cooperation. Then you can offer all kinds of excuses. Yeah.
The heartburn I had with that is that they can go out there for the farmer, and they'll take the donations from him, and they'll come back here and fill the tanks up on ours, on our dime.
True.
And
We never said that we never even got around to saying, well, what is a substantial donation? Is it,
Yeah.
do we have? Is there
At one
something-
time, I thought it was just a donation, what you could afford,
Well, it might have been.
That's
I'm kind of
what fire
remembering
fault.
when they burnt down that trailer house where I live, before the other one was brought in, where Jody Turner lived. They
Yes.
burnt that down, and she was supposed to have donated, I think, $250
Okay.
for the burn. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but that's quite a bit of a donation, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe not
I don't think
nowadays.
that would be unreasonable. Plus, I think there is some, as has been pointed out by several board members, we've got firemen. We've appointed several firemen. As far as I know, they've had no training.
Right.
No on the job. No
Yeah, on-the-job training.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
not where you were actually dealing with the fire. Let's put it that way.
They
So-
want to get these firemen trained. The fire department
Uh,
itself wants to train these firemen.
If we weren't up to our ears in this lagoon project, I'd
So I just want to give you
I
some
think
thought.
it'd be worth looking into that
I'm willing to,
at this point in time. 'Cause,
if you would give me permission to, and Jim, would you be willing to work again with that?
it'd be nice to have somebody that had a rural interest.
Yeah,
The
well,
rest of
Okay.
us are kind of villagers.
I have searched on the internet, I just can't quite bring what I need up for the petition.
Well, sure, there's somebody that could do it.
Well, that's where I think we're gonna have to speak to this guy up there at David City that we visited with. He kind of represents all the fire departments in, like the state of Nebraska. He handles their,
Okay.
like for the rural fire departments. But I don't know, I absolutely do not know what happened. It happened with all this burn stuff that was supposed to happen here a couple years ago, that they really got irate about something that they won't.
That's how long it's been since it.
Because they were working with us finally. But if permission is given, I will do a little more research and,
Let's see if we can't get that
yeah.
cleaned up
Garbage,
this,
yeah.
this month. Claims, treasury reports and minutes. Mrs. Rudd pointed out that we had a couple of bills here that, the Norris bill wasn't on your bills that were set out. That's $1,586 even. She dropped the Midwest Right-of-Way Services bill because she asked for a corrected billing and didn't receive it. So I think she's reluctant to I think she's gonna wait. Well, there was some other communication too. They were supposed to contact me, nobody has contacted me. But if the contract said that they were supposed to get prior approval for any additions to the contract, that didn't happen. So I think they probably had enough experience with me to know that the call isn't going to make that happen at this late date. I'm not going to I could editorialize a little further on that, but I'm not going to. Southeast Nebraska Developmental District, there was a bill added to $703.17. So Midwest was dropped, Norris and Southeast, we got a revised set of bills.
Right, do that one out. I got this one here.
And so, otherwise I don't think there were any. Well, obviously the total is different on the claims. Oh, and Mrs. Rudd checked with Mr. Buckley, Greg, on the parts bill for Oregon Trail, and that blades for the tractor, not blade.
Blade and parts.
Blade, yeah.
Yeah, it's repairs for the blade.
Yeah, it eats them up when you have to use
Or if that's the right terminology.
them. I think he runs chains too, so he rips down a little more too, I think.
Any other questions?
Need a motion, Steve?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report and accept the minutes and pay the bills.
For a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, Mark,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yeah.
Mark,
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Board member compensation, I think should be a couple available to the public as well as, board members didn't have this before tonight. But this is data that Mrs. Rutt collected, and all I did was put it in a little neater form, I guess. Dakin is the village, has no compensation for either the chairperson or members. And the high is Plymouth, of the ones that we listed. You could maybe make a case that we should have Gilead or Thompson or someplace, but I think it's a representative list. The long and the short of it is, other than Dakin, we're the lowest. So I averaged all of them, but I dropped Plymouth and I dropped Dakin. I dropped the high and I dropped the low. You wouldn't have to do that, but you just end up putting two more in there at $400 for a board member and whatever the difference, 720 and 12, or actually 400 for a board member. You could put two more at 400 for a board member and 600 for a, because that'd be the average of those two. So then you come up with an average of 367 for a board member and 479, about $100 difference between a board member and chairperson. Then if you go the mean, which just means you take the 5 highest and the 5 and lowest and use the one that occurs most frequently, you're at 300 and 420. Which is not a lot of money difference, but it is about half again as much as what town board members make. I don't think anybody's doing it for the money, but I don't know that it has to be that we're the low end of the totem either. There are other towns here of similar ilk where there's virtually no business, similar population. Tobias, Swanton, Reynolds are all towns comparable to us. So, there that is, and once you decide what you want to do with the information. But I think Mrs. Rutt also suggested that we needed to revise the ordinance for compensating board members. It is by ordinance, by law. And so it's effective, any change is effective in the same way. But the ordinance we have is, again, pretty dated.
Yeah.
Since you got it tonight, you want to have a month to mull it over, or not? You want to make a motion? You want to forget it? I'm going to make a motion.
Yeah, I'd make a motion, I'm just not, you know.
Sure what?
You want to go with the average, or?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to make it. If you're going to make it, I'm good with whatever you go with.
Well, I was thinking the average would be the way to go, and I'd make that motion.
You want to round those figures off?
Yeah, I'd round them off to it.
To like a $5?
Yeah,
to a
5
or something.
Whatever.
360, say 360, or 36, 370 and
370
480
and
or
480.
something. You want to make that? Is that
Yeah.
your motion?
Yeah, that's my motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Now we can talk about it. Anybody want to? That's
Divided by 12.
we would have to have it in the form of an ordinance before it went into effect. Okay. We can do that.
Back next month for it, don't you think?
Yeah. Any other?
No.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We'll call the question. Marge,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. If you'll give me that whole ordinance, I can work with Mrs. Bauer on this as well.
Okay.
I got it. Okay. This is, Rutt informs me that we've got to appoint somebody as a street superintendent. I don't know what the qualifications are. Gilmore, of course, is the engineer that does our 1 and 6 year plan. I didn't remember that we did this before, and in fact, we haven't, because it's another new requirement. Is there compensation goes with the,
We get $600 from the state,
and he gets
which
the
which
$600?
basically pays them for doing the 1 and 6 year plan and
Oh,
the road plan.
okay,
Yeah, so you do get.
but we don't, it isn't any more than what
Oh, no,
what we had before.
no.
Passes in and back.
But every year I had to certify to the state that he was our street superintendent.
Anyway,
Anyway, but now it needs to be in the minutes that you appointed him.
Who is this Keith Gilmore?
He's with Gilmore and
he's
Associates.
an engineer.
He's
from
a street
Columbus.
engineer, yeah,
Oh, I thought, okay, I guess I misunderstood.
yeah. Not just anybody can
Is
be.
there one, somebody want to make that
I'll move that
motion?
we appoint Keith Gilmore as street superintendent.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Is there any reason to discuss that?
No.
I don't think so either. Call the question. Jeremy,
Yes.
Marge,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Summer mowing contract. I talked to Jason. I told him and this is good. I'm gonna share this with you because this doesn't happen very often. I said, first I want to ask you, Jason, if you want to continue to do it. And he said, yeah, I did. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you, by and large, I think the changes we made last year were a win-win. I think I was a little happier with the way the work was performed and the way that things looked. And so I gave him a warm fuzzy or two. And I said, I don't think it's fair to ask you to continue at the same rate for the 3rd year. I said, I could probably get the board to go with as much as $520, which would have been a nice increase. He said, I'll take 500. So I said, that's only $20 increase over a 3-year period. He says, that's $5 a week, that'd be fine. So that's the proposal. But you don't very often have somebody, I've been known to dicker in that manner and end up losing money on the deal. But then that doesn't don't plan on that happening too often, where somebody takes less than what you offer. So $500 is, I don't think is at all unreasonable, especially considering gas prices. I do think we need to have that and approve that in the form of a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
$500
$500
a
for the
month,
coming year.
or fraction thereof. If he does an extra week, then it's one
Okay.
and a quarter. Last year, I think we got a bill for
Yeah, been shut.
1 week of October or something like that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Jim?
Yep.
Mark?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. I'll notify Jason. Yeah. Okay, street repairs. This guy from Asphalt Paving dropped this off at my house. I don't seem to be making any, I didn't make much of a dent. He called again today. This is 7 blocks of patching, 7 blocks of crack repair. We talked about this last month. I don't know. I think we've got to decide what it is that we want to do.
I got one here,
Okay.
too.
Is this a different one?
Different one. He called me and I wasn't even around, I was busy, and he looked around and then he sent me that. I didn't actually talk to him in person. Just crack filling, I think.
That's $350 per block. That's a lot cheaper. I don't know if he's figuring, this guy was figuring, I think something extra for 3 blocks of Main Street, you know what I mean? That's being wider. He doesn't specify.
They'd have to tear up the entire pavement.
Oh, he's got 24 blocks down there.
Yeah, he looked
I tell you,
around.
the streets
He
are
come up with
really
that many
bad.
that have a
My
lot of
poor
cracks.
old car just bounces around.
Yeah, there's-
And they are bad in places.
yeah.
And what's that one?
I'm not saying there isn't work to be done. There's work that needs to be done.
What's,
Well, he's bidding this, he's offered to do a block at $350. I'm trying to figure out what that comes to. Okay. Well, that's as cheap as I thought.
no. And what was he gonna do? Is he gonna fill?
He's going to, it says here, he would blow out and fill cracks at $350 a block. I guess you could, I don't know whether you get to pick the blocks. He's got up here in another place approximately 24 blocks. Fill with hot rubber crack filler, tile finish all labor and material. This is,
He came to our house and wanted to do our
this was,
driveway. And what was it,
filling,
$4,000
and
to do our
and
driveway?
patching.
Yeah.
Cleans up my house. I like my dirt driveway.
It's just-
Can't we get those sewer, whatever those lids, can't we get them more even, so there's not such big
That's where
dips?
I guess I'm coming.
I mean,
We
it
have
just
to
ruins your
decide
car.
Her baby, she was supposed to.
Who?
what it is that we
Some time
want to
ago.
do.
Geez, and they filled it in with sand, but that don't last.
Yeah.
Specific
Hey,
blocks
what-
for those
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah, we need to get some blocks and,
How about these manhole lids that just, I mean, you just keep getting, these dips are getting big, they're okay at first, and then they just keep getting bigger and bigger. You know, I mean, it's just everywhere. You know, I mean, it's not a smooth surface. You know, you got a little dip.
no, sorry.
Well, we're gonna have that, Doris, although I think I could probably get some more stuff and put it back in there.
But how long will it
Well, it's
last?
not gonna, probably will last a year and then have to do it again, but
Yeah.
the alternative to that, I mean, we can't put
We've got
6
some,
inches of hot mix
No,
on
no,
it
no, I
so
know.
that you can't get the,
I know,
that's what we had, that's
That's
why
what we
we've got
had
the
before.
problem
Yeah,
we've got now. Is we
I
had to
know.
dig those out to
yep,
access them to line the sewers,
yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I can look, as you point, I think you said, that helped.
Yeah, it did, it did help.
But the normal traffic is gonna pull it out of there over
Yeah,
time.
I mean, I just come in the alley and maybe go out, but,
when it gets
you know.
warmer, we've got some of that drainage down
Well,
there.
I can do that, I can put some more of those millings in there.
Yeah,
and,
when it gets warmer though, those millions will, if
That might help
drive
some.
over them, they'll,
At least,
they'll pack in
Pack
there
it down?
better. Yeah, cold weather, they just,
Yeah.
their millings.
and Greg might have pulled some of that out
Yeah,
too.
that's
It's,
true.
I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, you know, with blading and
Yeah.
everything, I mean, that can't be helped. You know, I understand that. Just a thought.
No, that's germane to what we're talking about here, which is the condition of
Yeah.
the streets. We've got work that needs to be done, it's just a question of, we've kind of decided that we can't do anything again over on the east side just
No.
because of this,
People get
Yeah.
this.
Lagoon
Get
project.
it done and
But we
save
need to
about
do something.
Well,
$30,000.
we can't because of the highway. Well, both
That-
things.
that too.
Those 2 blocks there, we really, we can't touch those.
Or the sugar's got to take
Or
care of
South
it.
Street and
Well, we can do anything this
yeah, we
this
just,
way.
Should ask Mark.
There's a lot.
Can you
of
find
yeah, they're
a
really
grant?
Well, that's what the patching
Yeah.
means more to me than the crack.
That crack filling
But he's
really
only gonna
does.
do,
Right,
on this
that's-
deal, he's
that's
only
what
gonna
I'm
do
saying.
7
Mhm.
blocks.
Yeah, and that's,
This
that
guy's,
one-
I mean, but he didn't say anything about patching, did he? Did you ever talk to this guy? Or
Just on the phone.
he just said he was gonna come and look at it?
Yeah, he wanted to come and look, and there's patching on his business card, but he didn't put any of that in his, I just noticed it's the same last name. It's just-
Yeah, I noticed that
that
too.
same last name.
Really?
Same
Probably
last
related.
name.
Probably are.
And it's the
Well,
same
there's a
guy.
lot of holes that need patched, so we would need to do some of that. He told me the cracks just get worse anyway.
Oh,
As water gets in there, freezes.
We didn't want to ever consider having Hines come back out and look at anything. Did you guys,
Why?
did you use them, Jake, and anybody?
Lines.
I'd like to, if, I mean, I don't care who does the patching, but if we have any armor coating done, I'd like to have somebody do it that comes and this guy did say if he did armor coating, he would remove the excess gravel and seal it.
Mhm.
Uh,
This guy, they would come
This
back
guy,
and
that's not this bid, but
they will come back.
if you wanted armor coating, the way they do it is they don't
They'll
leave
come
it,
back and get that gravel
Right.
off.
And
Yeah,
then they
that
put
gravel,
another coat of
it
seal
creates a
on it.
problem. Mhm.
so it doesn't move.
That company we had before, boy, they really left over in my area, really
Right.
some uneven stuff, and really
Lot-
bad.
lot of
Not-
sand.
It was bad stuff. I mean, they left it pretty rough.
Well, we've had Hines
Yeah.
before, we've had this outfit out of Wood River.
This one here, or which one?
No, he
Geneva.
doesn't have anything.
Oh, yeah,
for
but
right now.
Geneva.
He did call me, but I didn't return.
I
the
think
call.
this is the guy that does a lot of people's driveways here in town.
This guy.
This guy here, I'm thinking, is the one. Oh, we need to probably call both of them and make them, yeah, we need to take a look ourselves and see what we think needs to be.
Well, there's no
I
sense in
think it'd be a
calling
good
until you
idea.
know what it is that
Yeah.
you're gonna tell them you want
Yeah,
done.
let's, you know, don't you think? I'm willing to drive around with somebody and, Jim, your street guy, you want to go look, or somebody else, go with Jim. I know farming is gonna get started pretty soon here,
Seems
but,
like
hmm?
seems like I'm busy.
Yeah, I know you are. Mark, I'm willing to go. I know you keep
Well-
tied down with that sewer.
Well, if
so-
we, what if we were to look at,
Okay,
everything south of Sixth
okay,
and west of, the
53.
highway
Okay,
for, patching and filling cracks?
okay.
I really don't know, I mean,
And I know
I don't
some,
know, that's just a thought.
yeah. I know
They can always
some,
break it down, you know, if
yeah.
If they're,
it's
you know, I
too
didn't.
much.
Do what we need, you know, several proposals there as to, at price-wise, you know.
So at least get apples to apples.
Yeah.
Well, I think what they're saying,
And
I
that
think what
isn't-
they're proposing on this crack, these cracks is the same.
Right,
Is a-
it- but one has patching and one
Right,
doesn't.
right.
Yeah, one's just going through and filling cracks, and that's it.
I'll go around, I have no problem
Is,
going around.
well, you know, that armor coating, you're talking. $3,000 to $4,000 a block.
I suppose that's just like everything else is oil
Well, I mean,
prices.
I don't know what it is. I'm going by what we've had done in the
Yeah,
past.
I don't know where that
I think if
costs are
you
going
spent
to.
$20,000, you might have got 7 blocks.
Yeah.
How long will that last, that armor coating you said? I mean,
Well, it doesn't last for you know, we've got potholes. We haven't done any of that for
No,
probably, other than the main street up here, that's armor coating up
Yeah.
there. But other than that, we probably haven't done any streets, I'm gonna say for 5 years. We did sealer, that's not the same thing.
okay.
we did that.
But we haven't done any armor coating for quite a while. Got fed up with the dang gravel filling the ditches.
Yeah.
Yellow film was posed up for us and.
But if they're gonna sweep it off before they do it, right? Is that what you're saying? They're gonna sweep,
When I talked to this gentleman, they put asphalt down, then they put gravel down, then they come back after it's set up,
Oh.
sweep the excess gravel off and put another coat of sealer on, which is a process, which is an extra step beyond, well, actually 2 extra
Yeah.
steps, because we haven't had anybody sweep any gravel
Yeah.
off,
No.
and we haven't had anybody put a coat of sealer on.
No. And I've been told if you don't put the sealer down, you're kind of wasting your.
So, to answer your question, I think you probably couldn't expect more. Well, some of these streets that are needing to be patched now have had
Yeah.
sealer. But it's probably been 5 years since they've had any armor coating, and they need attention. I don't know, I'd be kind of inclined to say patch them until, see if we get some proposals on patching and filling the cracks, and then wait in a year and see if we wanna. Well, wait a year, we'll go over on the east side of town. We could get by with the cracks in the top of the fillers. For a while. I'll contact these guys and tell them what we're. And I may contact some other, I'll take proposals from anybody else too, as long as they understand what it is we want done. So if you have anybody else that contacts them.
Well,
Just today,
Yeah.
first off brought out between the two climbers.
We need to be somebody that has this
Everything.
proposal where they're gonna take it off. I mean, we don't want non-leaf gravel on like Heinz do.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna do that right now, we're talking patching and crack filling. That's it right now,
Okay.
okay?
So you talk to Heinz, and I don't think she did.
Yeah, I can call her.
Yeah, they do.
You
Huh?
know, okay.
Well, I'm sure you do.
Well, I know streets can be a lot of places, a lot of towns.
Okay. Alan, you got anything?
Basically not a whole lot. Water usage is about normal. Like you stated a little while ago, it's actually down more than what we are, but samples have come back good. It was a month for reports and stuff to fill out for the state for Health and Human Services and DEQ, and I got a few more for consumer confident report to fill out. I think Donna is going to the conference to Grand Island. I'm going to Grand Island Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm sure Jeremy's going. Oh, you aren't going? So basically, everything seems to be no water leaks, no nothing. So keep our fingers crossed. Everything looks operating well.
A question came up last month, I don't know if we gave an answer, but I talked to Mrs. Rudd after the meeting. Next month, we'll be able to look at our revenues for the past year and compare them with the revenues for the prior year for water. We won't be able to do water use because we didn't have the meters the year prior. We were on a flat rate. But we have said all along that what we needed to do with the water was break even. That may be not the best terminology. We
Stay
need
at
to
the same income.
stay at the same income level. So I'll ask her to have that available next month. It would have to be, well, we'll just have to wait and see if we're, I'm not gonna speculate. I don't have any idea at this point.
Well, I know mine hasn't been, since I fixed the toilet, mine hasn't been $25 a month on water.
No, I said, if you use a single person, well, no, I don't think your son's living with you.
No, he's living in his own place now.
So you're not gonna spend that. Unless you'd have a
Send
lot
my
of water.
grandkids over for showers.
No.
But, you know.
And that's what we thought when we
Right.
set them that way.
Yeah.
Right, we wanted to cut a single person, an older person, some slack, or at least not have an increase. While we may not collect as much from you, we are gonna
I
collect
make up
more
for
from,
I do with my
we're gonna collect
grandkids.
more from the waterers, the people who, we've gotta get our money in the, basically in the gardening, or the,
Well, my mom planted those chrysanthemums out front on the house, and I think I watered them 4 times all summer. I'm not a flower person,
Oh,
so I
really?
didn't
Are they dead?
but we'll just
Don't
have,
you kill
we'll
the
just have to see
They
what
didn't. They bloomed. They were pretty for a little while.
Trying to plant those
we're
in.
not showing up, it's not showing up
I
as
have
a,
held time with
I'm not seeing any deficit in the revenues as far as looking at the
plants
total
on the
year to year,
east
but it's a
side.
little hard
I guess
to compare apples to apples with that project money in there too.
They're really a hardy plant.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
Do what?
Move we
A
adjourn.
second?
Yep.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not,
Good night, Irene.
Yes.
Mark, Marge,
Yeah.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Jim?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.